for leaders, for prisons, and one unresolved question. When Pakistan's most powerful politicians are jailed, are we watching justice being served or political punishment being repeated under different names? This documentary follows Benazir Bhutto, Asif Ali Zardari, Nawaz Sharif, and Imran Khan through arrests, convictions, appeals, medical disputes, and prison conditions, asking what the record proves and what it cannot prove. The cycle begins in 1977. Prime Minister Zulfikar Ali Bhutto is overthrown by General Zia-ul-Haq. Martial law reshapes the state, and political imprisonment becomes part of Pakistan's modern power struggle. Benazir Bhutto's imprisonment belongs first to this military era. She was detained under a dictatorship, not after an ordinary electoral transfer of power, and her confinement became internationally recognized as political detention. Sukkur jail became one of the stark images of her ordeal. Reports described isolation, harsh conditions, and serious health concerns, while supporters abroad called her a prisoner of conscience. In January 1984, Benazir was allowed to travel abroad for medical treatment. That exit did not erase the meaning of the detention. It confirmed how deeply politics, imprisonment, and health were entangled. It is important to separate this period from later corruption cases involving other leaders. Benazir's Zia-era detention was rooted in martial law politics and suppression, not a completed corruption conviction. Asif Ali Zardari's first major imprisonment came after the dismissal of Benazir Bhutto's government in 1990. The cases were politically explosive, and the legal process stretched across years. His longest spell began in 1996 and continued until 2004. For nearly 8 years, Zardari remained behind bars while allegations, investigations, and trials moved through Pakistan's courts. The wording matters. Many claims against Zardari were allegations or prosecution cases, not final proof. A documentary must show that distinction clearly, especially where later outcomes change the legal picture. Over time, several cases ended in acquittals, dismissals, or overturned convictions. Those outcomes do not automatically answer every political question, but they prevent us from presenting accusations as settled fact. One example often cited is the Pakistan Steel Mills case, where a conviction was later overturned. That reversal is essential to any fair account of Zardari's prison years. Cumulatively, Zardari spent around 11 years in custody across different periods. In raw time, that places him among the longest jailed major civilian political figures in Pakistan's recent history. Nawaz Sharif's prison story turned sharply in 1999 when General Pervez Musharraf's coup removed his elected government. Arrest followed, and the conflict moved from political confrontation into criminal prosecution. In the aircraft or hijacking case, Nawaz received a life sentence. Supporters called it political retaliation. Opponents framed it as accountability. The case became a defining symbol of the post-coup order. The sentence did not lead to lifelong imprisonment. A deal sent Nawaz into exile in Saudi Arabia, showing again how Pakistan's legal outcomes often intersected with negotiation, pressure, and political necessity. Nearly 2 decades later, the Panama Papers era brought the Avonfield conviction in 2018. This was a different legal chapter tied to assets, accountability courts, and an intensely polarized election season. Nawaz returned to Pakistan and was arrested. His Avonfield imprisonment lasted 63 days before release on suspension of sentence, a reminder that prison duration and legal status are not the same thing. In the Al-Azizi case, Nawaz was again imprisoned, but reports also described better class facilities. Comparisons of prison treatment must include those details, not just the fact of incarceration. Medical treatment became another decisive issue. Nawaz eventually traveled abroad after health concerns, turning prison conditions, hospital access, and political trust into a national controversy. In 2023, major convictions against Nawaz were overturned or he was acquitted. For this documentary, that matters because appeals are not footnotes. They are part of the justice system itself. Imran Khan's prison story begins after his removal by a parliamentary no-confidence vote in April 2022. His supporters saw regime change. Opponents saw constitutional transition. The divide never truly closed. On the 5th August 2023, Imran Khan was arrested after conviction in the Toshakhana case. That date began a period of continuous custody that would reshape Pakistani politics. By August 2026, his continuous incarceration is counted as 3 years and 17 days, approximately 1,113 days. The continuity of custody is central to his comparison with earlier leaders. Some convictions did not survive appeal. The Cypher case and the marriage case were overturned, showing why legal status must be updated carefully rather than frozen at the moment of arrest. All the sentences were suspended, which again complicates the public narrative. Suspension is not the same as full exoneration, but it does mean the punishment cannot be described in simple final terms. In January 2025, Imran Khan received a 14-year sentence in the Al-Qadir Trust case. Appeals and legal process continued, so the correct label is not closure, but contested ongoing litigation. In 2024, the United Nations Working Group on Arbitrary Detention found that Imran Khan's detention was arbitrary and called for release. Pakistan's official position and domestic legal process remained contested. By August 2026, Amnesty International raised concerns about prolonged solitary confinement and restrictions on access. These claims speak to detention conditions, not just courtroom verdicts. Government and jail authorities disputed allegations of mistreatment, saying rules and facilities were being followed. A balanced record must include that denial while still examining whether independent access was adequate. On 18th August 2026, Pakistan Supreme Court ordered a medical examination at Shifa International Hospital. The order placed health access, court supervision, and prison administration under renewed scrutiny. Then came the 21 and 22 August controversy. Reports and statements pointed to a dispute over PIMS versus Shifa. Even medical logistics became part of Pakistan's political and legal battlefield. If we compare prison time, Zardari appears to have the longest cumulative incarceration among these four. Imran Khan, however, stands out for a single continuous post-removal detention stretching beyond 3 years. The timeline shows different categories, not one simple ranking. Benazir's detention was clearest under martial law. Zardari's was longest cumulatively. Nawaz's was interrupted by exile and appeals, and Imran's remains ongoing. For the clearest political detention, Benazir Bhutto's Zia-era confinement is the strongest case. It occurred under military rule, involved suppression of opposition, and was internationally framed as imprisonment for conscience. Prison conditions also varied. Some leaders received better class facilities, hospital access, or exile arrangements. Others alleged isolation or restricted access. Equal justice cannot exist if custody depends on political bargaining. So, is this accountability or revenge? The honest answer is that Pakistan has seen elements of both. Real corruption cases can exist, and political weaponization of justice can exist at the same time. A fair test of justice needs 6 questions. Is the evidence public? Are courts independent? Is custody humane? Are appeals respected? Is medical care equal? And do rules apply before and after power changes hands? First, evidence must be transparent. Viewers should be told when something is an allegation, when it is a prosecution claim, and when a conviction has actually survived appeal. Second, the timing of cases matters. When prosecutions accelerate after a leader loses office, the burden on institutions is higher to show independence, consistency, and freedom from political pressure. Third, custody itself must not become punishment before final judgment. Bail, access to lawyers, family visits, and humane conditions are not privileges. They are safeguards against abuse. Fourth, appeals must be treated as part of justice, not as technical afterthoughts. Overturned convictions in these stories changed reputations, prison histories, and public understanding. Fifth and sixth, medical access and equal rules are decisive. If one leader receives treatment abroad while another's hospital access is disputed, citizens will question whether law is impartial. Across 5 decades, the pattern repeats. Government falls, cases rise, courts decide, appeals reverse, prisons become symbols, and the next political era reopens the same argument with different names. The institutional question is bigger than any one leader. Can Pakistan build a justice system trusted by winners and losers alike, or will prison remain a stage in the struggle for power? Justice requires evidence, due process, independent courts, humane custody, timely appeals, and equal medical treatment. Without those standards, even legitimate cases risk looking like political punishment. This film does not ask viewers to excuse wrongdoing or accept every allegation. It asks for precision, allegations as allegations, convictions as convictions, overturned cases as overturned, and continuing appeals as unfinished law. Final note, this documentary uses public record, legal status labels, and clearly symbolic reconstruction imagery. It does not present atmospheric visuals as authentic archival evidence. The question remains for history, justice, or political punishment. Final disclaimer, I am a neutral Pakistani and a proud lover of Pakistan. This video is not against Pakistan, any institution, political party, or individual. It is an independent effort to examine our political and accountability system through publicly available facts and historical records. When power, wealth, and privilege remain concentrated among a few while ordinary Pakistanis continue to suffer, questioning the system is not questioning Pakistan. Pakistan comes first. Truth, justice, human rights, and equal accountability should apply to everyone.